So here we are. We're recording this on September 15th. What should officials be doing right now in lead up to those first practices?
Conditioning is going to ultimately be number one, right? Because that's the most specific thing they do in game. They have to be able to run up and down the court. Now, the more specific that they can get, the closer and closer you get to the season starting, the better they're going to feel when they start to get into some of those scrimmages, right? You know, all the time they talk about, hey, I've been conditioning, I've been doing some cardio, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm really, really sore the next day. Okay, well, we're not taking into account all the stops and starts. So some form of sprinting would be very helpful, you know. Repeat sprint ability is important for a basketball official specifically because, you know, they may have times where they shuffle, jog. They may have times where they stand, walk. But oftentimes when the play changes positions or there's a different transition, they take off and sprint down the court and stop on a dime. So some of the more specific things that they do being that. And that's, like I mentioned, an exercise we call repeat sprints, which is high-intensity interval training. It's just not done, you know, in the fashion that most people think about with kettlebells or med ball slams or battle ropes. That's high-intensity interval training as well. We're just making it very specific to what they do on the court. The other things I do think that strength training does play a major role, and we've talked about that before. You know, a lot of officials are afraid of strength training because, you know, in the past, it's always been back squat, bench press, deadlift, right? That's what you think of when you think of strength training or you think of bodybuilding. And a lot of officials will say, hey, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. Yeah, you're not using it for those reasons. And then they get confused on what injury prevention truly is. But when you tie all those pieces together, that's actually what injury prevention is. And we're talking about true stability, joint mobility. You know, strength training as a whole can be done on one leg. It can be done with cable machines. It can be done with kettlebells. It can be done with bands. Those are all elements to keeping them healthier on the court and getting rid of some of that post-game soreness because they've gotten strong in the right places and they've been training like an athlete should. And those are some of the things. So obviously fitness level is number one and strength training is number two. Everything outside of that, creating a habit of frequency over the course of a week. If I'm working 3 games a week and I work out 1 time a week, I'm probably going to be setting myself up for failure. You know what I mean? Like the frequency of activity is not high enough to, you know, really prepare me for those things. So
we help sports officials worldwide become more physically prepared for game day. Head on over to runninref.com and check out our training programs today. Let's get to running.